It's midday. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Citi Prime News. We're coming to you live from our studios at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka, Accra. My name is Ajua Tinkrama Domina. Coming up,
I want to take Ghana on this journey of possibilities. I want us to overtake many of these countries. I want to create jobs for our people. I want to take care of the vulnerable.
With 103 days to the December 7 elections, we bring you what the NPP flag bearer intends to do in his first 100 days in office if elected president. Also, the NDC's John Dramani Mahama hopes to tackle corruption head-on in his first 120 days in office.
Fight corruption by deploying the Operation Recover All the Loot principle.
Also in the bulletin, Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability ASEPA issues 48-hour ultimatum to government to clear family planning drugs stuck at the port for the past 6 months.
Within the next 48 hours, if they do not take steps to clear these medications from the port and distribute it to the regional medical stores, we will march to the Ministry of Health.
Still coming up, 5 non-governmental organizations sued the government seeking recovery of over 1 billion cedis paid to Strategic Mobilization Limited, SML, in the botched SML GRA contract.
The award of the SML contract and the delivery of the contract had a number of things that are at variance with the laws of our land. Essentially, we are saying if these laws were breached, the right things must be done.
And later, nearly 15 students of Osu Presbyterian Senior High School almost barred from entering the examination hall over late arrival in the ongoing West African Senior School Certificate Examination WASI.
We already had a delay. We've started the paper 30 minutes ago, and they are now coming. I have been with them. I know them. These are the perpetual latecomers.
Stay with us for details of these and more stories coming your way in the next 30 minutes. The bulletin is live around the globe on citinewsroom.com. Across the country, we are live on a number of affiliate stations in the Western region. This is Adrimpa 100.7 FM in Takwa, Beach 105.5 FM in Takrade. If you're in the Bono region, this is Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyang. In the Shanti region, Adrimpa 99.9 FM in Karie. In the Volta region, this is Heritage 107.3 FM in Hohoi, Freedom 88.1 FM in Sugakope, in the Northern region, Radio Gaki 88.3 FM in Saboba, in the Upper East region, Quality 88.7 FM in Garu, and in the Northeast region, this is Nobia FM 98.1. Please stay for details.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Grateful for your company. This afternoon, the Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability, ASEPA, has issued a 48-hour ultimatum to the government to clear family planning medications stuck at the port for 6 months or face a protest. ASEPA is demanding action from the Ministry of Health, the Ghana Health Service, and the Finance Ministry on the drugs which are in shortage at the regional medical stores across the country. Speaking to Citi News, Executive Director of ASEPA, Mensa Thompson, said the Alliance is mobilizing women across the country to protest at the Health Ministry over the situation.
Family planning medications that have been donated to Ghana by the West African Health Organization and the UNFPA have been left rotten at the port for the past 6 months, with the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Health, and the Ghana Health Service giving donors excuses upon excuses for failing to clear this medication. Meanwhile, our checks at the regional medical stores across the country reveal that these family planning medications have been in short supply since February. And so the hospitals don't have these medications to administer to patients and women who need these medications. But these over 1 million pieces of different types of family planning medications have been donated to the Ministry of Health and are sitting at the port for close to 6 months. I mean, how cruel and reckless can any government be? So we are extremely, worried about this trend, and we are giving the Ministry of Health, the Ghana Health Service, and the Ministry of Finance 48 hours. Within the next 48 hours, if they do not take steps to clear these medications from the ports and distribute it to the regional medical stores for onward redistribution to the hospitals, so that our women who need these essential medicines can have them, we will march to the Ministry of Health We are mobilizing women across the country, and we'll match the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Finance. Because these things cannot be allowed to continue. It is becoming one too many.
Mr. Thompson is Executive Director of the Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability. Now, 5 non-governmental organizations are seeking the recovery of over 1 billion cedis paid to the Strategic Mobilization Limited (SML). President Akufo-Addo in January this year tasked audit firm KPMG to conduct an audit of the transaction between the Ghana Revenue Authority and the Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited on the contract which was entered into to enhance revenue assurance in the downstream petroleum sector, the upstream petroleum production and minerals and metals resources value chain. Now, KPMG in its report indicated that the GRA did not receive appropriate approvals from the Public Procurement Authority as well as Parliament for the contract. The Center for Democratic Development (CDD), Africa Center for Energy Policy (ACEP), Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition (GACC), Human Rights and Governance Center, and the Media Foundation for West Africa have therefore sued the government based on the outcome of the KPMG report. Here's Executive Director of the Media Foundation for West Africa, one of the groups speaking to Citi News.
I think that if anything at all, we would say that it's based on some of the findings from the KPMG report that required that actions be taken to ensure that what is due the state comes back to the state. So it has nothing to do with being dissatisfied with the KPMG report. If anything at all, that give us a little more into what we thought were the wrong things that were done in relation to the contract. We are a country that, is supposed to be governed by laws, and laws are not made for the beauty of having laws. Laws are made so that things will be done properly. Laws are made so that there will be equity, there will be fairness, there will be justness, and there will be accountability. And in our view, the award of the SML contract and the delivery of the contract, had, in our view, a number of things that are at variance with the laws of our land, particularly and specifically relating to public procurement, laws regarding parliamentary oversight, and so on. And essentially, we are saying, look, if these laws were breached, the right things must be done. If we've lost monies as a result of these breaches, the monies must be retrieved back to the state. So essentially, we are saying, look, the laws were not followed, monies have been paid, and those monies must be brought back to the state.
Suleiman Abrahima is Executive Director of the Media Foundation for West Africa. Now let's do some politics. The New Patriotic Party's presidential candidate, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, says he has what it takes to transform Ghana if elected president in the December polls. At a media engagement in Accra, Dr. Bawumia says majority of Ghana's challenges could be addressed if digitalization is given more attention. Here's a news desk report by my colleague Sami Wafi.
According to Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, his government will forego any honeymoon period and start work immediately upon taking up office. He outlined a series of immediate actions, including preparing a budget as quickly as possible for implementation with key economic policies. Among his topmost priority is the introduction of tax amnesty and a flat tax regime, both of which he aims will be ready in his first budget in March 2025.
And with a flat rate, what we want to do is to bring a lot more predictability in import duty payment. At the moment, there isn't predictability, and there's a lot of discretion that seems to come in from time to time. And so what we are saying is that we're going to bring in a flat rate in cities.
On Ghana's economic challenges, Dr. Bawumia says he saw the country's economy crashing in the year 2022 when inflation was pegged at 54%.
It was very scary. In fact, in 2022, this economy was on the verge of collapse because you saw our reserves declining very steeply. The exchange rate was blowing up, inflation was up, and my worry at that time, frankly, was that I could see this country moving towards Sri Lanka.
On the National Cathedral and what he intends to do if elected president, Dr. Bawumia says he will engage Christian leaders on the way forward.
We need to sit down and talk if the design has to be looked at again to make sure it can be completed. We have to put everything on the table, but I will be minded more by the churches and the church leaders and the discussions that we should have with them on the way forward. But I think it's an important issue.
Dr. Bawumia also pledged his commitment to protect journalists and advise his followers to refrain from attacking journalists in the country.
And so I'm very committed to this because I'm inherently someone who is very committed to democracy. And I don't think that anyone should attack a member of the press for doing their job. And so we will totally be against that and ask all our supporters to refrain absolutely from doing that.
The media encounter did not end without some few jabs to his main opponent, John Dramani Mahama of the NDC.
Sometimes I get a little surprised and amazed the former president when he talks about economic mismanagement. He should know his own record. I mean, we don't all have short memories. We really don't all have short memories. His record in economic management, what he left us with in 2016 was an abysmal record.
Flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, ending that report filed by Citi News' Sami Wiafe. Well, for the leader of the opposition, National Democratic Congress, John Mahama, he has unveiled a 26-point plan outlining his priorities for the first 120 days if elected. The strategies, according to the party, forms part of promises made to reset the country towards development. Citi News' Akosi Oche has a wrap of some of the key promises in this report.
It was a colorful event on Saturday as Winneba was painted in red, white, green and black colors following the launch of the NDC's 2024 manifesto. Speeches from the manifesto committee, leadership of the NDC, flag bearer of the party and running mate to John Mahama, Professor Opoku Agyeman, sought to give hope to supporters and the Ghanaian people. During the launch of the party's policy document, the NDC flag bearer John Mahama indicated that he will wage a ruthless war against corruption by forming a task force which will be known as Operation Recover or Loot. He indicated that during his tenure, no political appointee in his administration will be allowed to purchase state assets.
We need a leadership that will crack the ship when its own appointees go down the wrong track. We need a responsive government that will respect the rights and freedoms of our citizens, including journalists, and address the ongoing decay of state institutions and fight corruption by deploying the Operation Recover All the Loot principle.
Citizens' movement against corruption share thoughts on the Operation Recover or Loot policy. Adam Senanu is member of the movement.
Our laws have been breached and persons have appropriated for themselves by defrauding, by pretensing, by false pretenses, etc. There is that opportunity to retrieve. I think it is more relevant where we'll see the institutions of state will not have to wait until there is a specific government coming in to tackle, investigate, address issues of corruption. And I think that if the current institutions took up this matter, we shouldn't have a situation where one government that is going out or another government that is coming in is now saying that when we come in, we will now investigate.
The party also reviewed the document titled Mahama's First 120 Days Social Contract with the People of Ghana, which was released as part of the manifesto. The key highlights of Mr. Mahama's plan include the formation of what he promises will be the leanest and most efficient government in Ghana's Fourth Republic within the first 90 days. But one of these many social contracts that have caught attention is the party's move to reinvestigate some electoral violence cases.
We will commence investigative processes to purge state security agencies of all militia and vigilante elements who are causing havoc in our country. 20. We'll reopen investigations into major unresolved criminal cases, including the 2020 election killings, Ayawaso West Wagomba election violence, murder of Ahmed Swale and Silas Wulo Chame. We'll investigate the 58 million National Cathedral scandal, illegal and inflated single source contracts, boss scandals, and many others.
John Dramani Mahama is flag bearer of the opposition National Democratic Congress, ending that report by Citi News' Akosia Ochi. This is the Citi Prime News. When we return, nearly 15 students of Osu Presby Senior High School almost barred from entering examination hall over late arrival in ongoing WASI. We have details of that and more stories coming up shortly. Please stay.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Channel 1 TV is live on DSTV, GoTV, and HD+. On DSTV, find us on Channel 363. On GoTV, we're on Channel 117. And on HD+, get us on Channel 108. On a digital TV, run a new search. But take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Channel 1 TV. Channel 1 TV can be accessed on any free-to-air digital box, like the DSTV and HD+ boxes. Channel 1 TV, telling your story, empowering change.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. Let's bring you some more stories. Economist Dr. Patrick Isumin is urging the two major political parties in the country to provide clear details on how they plan to generate revenue to compensate for the taxes they intend to abolish and the new policies they propose to implement. Now, both the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress have promised to scrap the e-levy, with the NDC also promising free academic fees for first-year students at public universities. In a Citi News interview, Professor Isumin emphasized that the flag bearers must clearly outline their strategies for internal revenue mobilization.
The onus is on the parties to tell us how we are going to make up for the shortfall. Unless they tell us they are completely going to get rid of the IMF program and they have a free reign. So, and then that is on that side. Then on the other side is the promises of the programs that are being made. We have to hear how much they are going to cost and where the funding will come from, taking into consideration the fact that we are in the IMF program. So it looks like these promises are being made without properly situating everything in the context of the challenges. Let's face it, the economy really has challenges. But for me, beyond these tax measures, I think what I would have expected is a clear communication about what we are going to do so that we don't get here again. Thankfully, both sides have been in power and we've had experience. They've been in opposition and made promises, and we've seen how things have panned out when they are in government. So for me, I think addressing the longer-term structural issues is what is important. There's been a lot of talk about we'll spend this, we'll do this, or we will cut this tax, but nobody is talking so much about how we are going to generate additional revenue or how we are going to broaden our tax base to ensure that more people are paying. Then you have the funds to support the program that we are talking about.
You heard economist Professor Patrick Isumin. Let's stay on reactions to political parties' campaign promises, and the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, says it is ready to diversify its trading activities to include manufacturing of products to accommodate pledges made by the two leading political parties to prioritize made-in-Ghana goods. Now, both the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress have in their 2024 manifestos promised to prioritize the production and consumption of made-in Ghana products and services. While GUTA welcomes these promises, its president, Dr. Joseph Obin, says the promises must be accompanied by deliberate actions to reduce the cost of doing business in Ghana.
whilst they are also talking about consume made in Ghana goods, they should also have in mind that they have to create the necessary environment for us to thrive as manufacturers. The cost of doing business, essentially, the excessive taxes that we are made to pay and all that, they have to look at all those things. If they are able to do that, the cost of utility and all that, they have to make a conscious effort. Those things that do not come out of magic. It comes because we have prepared the grounds. So let's prepare the grounds, and then we are also ready to diversify, because we are not only made to be importing goods. We can also diverse into manufacturing and export. It's a good call, and then because most of the countries that we travel to, they manufacture and consume most of the things that they produce and all that, and we can also do things. It's not a rocket science that we cannot do, but the environment.
Meanwhile, Guta says it is incumbent on political parties to commit to an undertaking and a memorandum of understanding to show their commitment in fulfilling their promises.
That's why I was saying that we are going to make a call for them to come and sign a memorandum of understanding or some undertaking to that effect. It will be a call for them if they respond to it. They are now bringing their manifestos and all that. So when all of them are done with their manifestos and all that is being done, then we made the call for them to sign the pledge. Is it that we are just paying lip service or rhetoric or what? I want to believe that they are all very serious, and we say that we have to commit ourselves into a pledge and all that. It's a social contract. All this that we are doing is a social contract, because they are showing to us that this is what we are selling to you. Come and buy, and then vote for us. So if I have a purchasing agreement with you, then of course it's binding on you, isn't it? So I think they are committed to it, and they will understand our call.
Dr. Joseph Obeng is president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association. Now, let's bring you some more stories. The opposition National Democratic Congress has called for an extension of the ongoing voter exhibition exercise scheduled to end tomorrow. The Electoral Commission began the exercise on August 20 and is expected to end on August 27. Now, prior to the exercise, the NDC had accused the EC of not releasing the provisional register to political parties on time. The EC subsequently gave the register to the parties a day before the commencement of the exercise. Even before the EC ends the exercise tomorrow, the NDC is pushing for an extension to enable citizens who are yet to check their details to do so. Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer is Deputy Director of Elections and IT for the NDC.
We are still monitoring the exhibition. Nonetheless, we would wish that they extend the exhibition a bit. Don't forget, they gave us the PVR very late. In fact, less than 24 hours to the exhibition. And then so it actually gave us a hell of time in terms of studying the whole PVR. We are still studying it. You can also see in the field some of the issues. So we think that they should a bit extend it, at least some few days, to enable people to go and still check their names, because that is the most critical part of the whole register. And then so therefore, we are still on it. Our team in the field, we are also closely monitoring what is going on there.
Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer is Deputy Director of Elections and IT for the NDC. For the governing New Patriotic Party, it is encouraging more citizen participation either through the exhibition centers or the use of the digital platform. Evans Nimako serves as Director of Elections and IT for the party.
This exercise, the history has shown that in most times, the turnout to centers have been very low. And so it is not surprising this time around. But I think what has been helpful is the fact that the EC has generated a certain platform for the telcos where people can access. I think for now, we will not be able to tell the exact numbers which have turned out in all the centers of exhibition, as well as those who have used the platform to check. We will wait until tomorrow and see the collation from the field. But it is recommended that all people who did register should one or the other visit their registration centers and make sure that their details are well captured in the register. So to be sure that on the election day, they will go and exercise their rights as citizens of Ghana.
You heard Evans Nimako, he's Director of Elections and IT for the New Patriotic Party. Let's move on now. More than 15 students of the Osu Presbyterian Senior High School were almost barred from entering the examination hall after arriving late for the first course subject paper, Social Studies, in the ongoing West Africa examination. West Africa Senior School Certificate Examination, WASI. Now, this incident was observed during a visit by officials of WAEC to various centers where the WASI is currently underway. In an interview with the media, headmaster of Osu Presbyterian Senior High School, Vincent Iswa, gave an account of what transpired.
WAEC works with rules and regulations, and the rules are that students or candidates are to be seated 30 minutes before start work. We already had a delay. It's past 9, so we have already delayed a bit. We've started the paper 30 minutes ago, and they are now coming.
Any reason why they are now coming?
They have no reason, because I have been with them. I know them. These are the perpetual latecomers, and it has become their attitude. And so, if you go and ask them, you will find out why they are now coming. They hover around for what only God knows what. And I will not allow anyone to breach the rules, especially if you don't have any good reason. It hasn't rained. If you're a serious student, you know you have WAEC examination, which starts at 8:30. By 8, you should be in school, not 9:30.
You have the headmaster of Osu Presbyterian Senior High School, Vincent Iswa. Meanwhile, the head of WAEC's national office, Dr. Rosemond Wilson, explained that supervisors across all centers must adhere to the 30 minutes before start of paper rule to prevent possible cheating.
Now, rules and regulations, students are supposed to be seated 30 minutes before the start of each paper, and they are not supposed to go out, or they are also not supposed to be allowed to come in after 30 minutes before the start of the paper. So, as I said, the supervisors are to adhere to these rules and regulations for a smooth conduct of the exams. And normally we also give them, the supervisors, the permission to find out from the candidates why they are late and whatever is happening to them. And from that, they normally write a report to WAEC concerning those candidates who were late.
Head of WAEC National Office, Dr. Rosemond Wilson. Now, the Ministry of Works and Housing has called for additional funds to address Phase 1 of the Ekosomo Dam Spillage Resettlement Program. Following the spillage of the Ekosomo Dam, government initially allocated 200 million cedis to the ministry for the resettlement of those affected by the spillage. Speaking during a stakeholder engagement on the Ekosomo Dam water spillage, the Chief Director of the Ministry of Works and Housing, Reverend Stephen Say called for an additional 2 million cedis to deal with issues of consultancy fees and land compensation as part of the ongoing resettlement efforts.
We projected about 600 million cedis to do the project, but currently we have 200 million cedis. So if you have to do it in a year, it means that we need 600 million to release for the resettlement process. If it's going to be 2 years, then means that we need additional 200 to make it 4, so that we can fast track it and do it in 2 years. If it's to be 3 years more, then we need 200 million every year. So we are asking for additional funds if we have to do it in a year. We have the numbers and the prioritized homes to be rebuilt.
Reverend Stephen Yaosei is Chief Director at the Ministry of Works and Housing. Now, Member of Parliament for Bole Bamboy Yusuf Suleimana has criticized the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Brian Champong, for his silence on the drought in the northern part of the country. Farmers in that part of the country are losing their crops with livelihoods under threat, as the situation has remained the same in the last 2 months. The legislator fears there could be food shortages should the government fail to act.
As I stand here, I'm a victim. I plowed my farm somewhere June, and my intention was to plant my maize in July. What it means is that I have run out of time, and this has happened to so many farmers in the north. Some have to even weed their planted crops and to replant. So clearly there's an imminent shortage of food come next year. And so what we are saying is that we are putting in place a mechanism to ensure that as soon as we come on board, this irrigation system